What's going on, everybody? This is Lauren with the TMF Podcast, Free as Fuck Podcast, TMF Apparel USA, and I'm going to get into a little bit about what's going on with me because I've been a little absent lately from making content, making videos, and I'm going to let you guys know what's going on. But let's cue that intro. So it's September 12th. And in the last 6 weeks, my life has kind of been turned completely upside down. If you follow me on the channel for a while, you know that I obviously have another business in the motorcycle industry. I've been in the motorcycle industry for a long time, about 18 years now. And, I dabble in the stock market, do some trading. I do the t-shirts, I do the podcasts. I've been an entrepreneur most of my adult life, almost my entire adult life. And when you are an entrepreneur and you work for yourself, you have to have a different mindset, a different level of mindset. And the mindset has to be, no matter how much you get knocked down, today's a new day. You wake up and you think, I'm just going to get after it. Sometimes you do, and sometimes you don't. And you don't really get too discouraged by the days that you don't, even though you learn from them. There's some clips that I listen to a lot when I'm having a hard time, and it reminds me that everybody goes through difficulties. And the difference between the guys who take the risks and do their own thing and work for themselves and run their own business and try and fail is that we don't consider anything a failure. We just consider a lesson and we learn from it. We don't dwell on our mistakes. And I have to say that the last 6 weeks, I've done a lot of dwelling on things I could have done differently. And it's not normally me, but this is different. This is very different. So throughout the entire pandemic situation here, I've done a scrape tooth and nail to get by, honestly. And it's been tough. And I'm always optimistic that I can always do better. I can always make it through. Like for me, there's always I always say it put this way. I would always tell Megan I put my Kool-Aid Man suit on because whenever there's a wall like the one behind me in front of me, I always just find a way to just blast through the wall. Some people in life see that wall, that metaphoric wall, and they can't get past it. They look at it and they just go, I cannot do that. It's too big. And for me, I've always just said, all right, I'm going to put on my Kool-Aid Man suit. I'm just going to bust through that wall somehow. No matter what it takes, we're going to find a way through the obstacle that's in front of me. And I'm facing a part where I don't know how to overcome the wall that I've built, that I've built and I've stumbled across. So in my other business, I manufacture custom motorcycle parts. That's what I do. I make composites. From the conception of doing this, I make the plug, I make the initial part, I make the mold for it, I make the part that comes out of the mold, I trim it, I prep it, I drill it, I prime it, if it gets painted, if it gets put on a bike. Like, I'm the person who does all this stuff. So I've had people that work for me in the past, and some of them could do some of the tasks. Some guys could make the molds, some guys could make the parts, some guys were good at making plugs. All around, to find someone that has done everything that I do in the industry is not always that common. There's always somebody who does one of those jobs. And for me, since about August of last year, I've been running that business by myself. I haven't had any employees. It's been just me. And I've had a friend come in and help me out a time or two, to help lay up some parts, who didn't even really know how to do any of it. I was just kind of like, all right, well, we're just going to do this. And I always said monkeys could make fiberglass parts, and for the most part, you kind of can. I mean, it's not super difficult, but you can mess them up. I stopped really taking in big projects. I had a couple in there to do that are up my alley. And the thing about it is that I got behind. Supply issues, life, schedules, I just got behind. And the thing about the motorcycle industry that has changed a lot is that while everything else is delayed, that doesn't matter to the people who ride bikes. They don't give a shit. For the most part, they don't care. And I get it. You know, some stuff, if you can't do it in a timely fashion, just don't do it. When you're the only person that does it, sometimes it just takes longer. And I want to give people, you know, what they're used to getting out of me. And some days, look, when you're a creative person and you build stuff with your hands and you do something that requires you to be in the right mindset to do it, and you're not in the mindset, the life lesson from what I've learned after 18 years is don't do it. If you don't feel like painting that thing right now, don't paint it, because you're going to have to paint it again because you're going to fuck it up. Or whatever the thing is, you know, we create these mental barriers. And so it's that's kind of where I've been. I struggle because the motorcycle industry has taken a lot from my life. I used to spend a lot of time at my shop, like 18-hour days, 7 days a week, no vacations, barely saw my kids, my family. And it took its toll on me. And the last 2-3 years, I've tried to make changes, spend more time with my kids. You know, I am divorced, so I only have them half the time. And I want to make the time that I have with them kind of important. I want them to look up to me, and I want them to actually get to spend some time with their dad while they're still young. And for most of their early childhood life, they didn't get to see me much because I worked a lot. And that was my choice. And now I've made a conscious choice to not work so much. The problem is that when you're the only one that works at the business, you know, you can only get so much done in a certain amount of time. And when the kids are in school, my time is even less. So I got behind. I got behind a lot. And it's always, for me, it's been like, okay, well, you know, today we'll get past this. People are going to be upset, but, you know, they'll be okay. Well, I have 2 customers currently that got upset enough. They didn't want to wait for their bike. And this is the situation that I'm in right now. I have customers who had open invoices, which you come into my business and you want me to build something for you. If you have a bike, you pay a deposit toward the project, parts, labor, whatever the deposit goes to. It gives me enough to get going, to get started, to start building parts, to work on taking the bike apart, labor part of it. And then once we get to a certain stage, usually we chip away at, depending on how much the project is. Well, I had some customers, one bike that was in there a long time, man. It was in there for over a year. And another one that was in there about 7 months. And, well, actively 6 months from the time we started working on it. And these guys, you know, I built parts for them, taking the bike apart, got into a certain level on the build. Now, keep in mind, I'm still fulfilling online orders and trying to get those parts made and out the door and trying to just deal with everything else around me in life. And I'm behind. And I will be 100% transparent. My customer service in the motorcycle world sucks. Look, man, there's only one of me. And I don't answer the phone. I haven't answered the phone in freaking 2-3 years. I just let it go to voicemail. And then if it's important, I'll call you back. If you're just calling me to ask me, hey, man, I just need an update on something. Updates take a lot of time out of my day that I don't have to give up just to talk about how's my part doing. Your part is fine. Your part is always okay, right? It's never having an emotional breakdown. It never got in a fight with another part. It's always okay. It might not be as far along as you'd like it to be, but it's fine. Those phone calls, when you have 10 or 15 or 20 of them every day that you want to do, take up a lot of time where I could be standing on something or laying up parts or whatever. So I just stopped answering the phone. And honestly, my mental health became much better after I stopped answering it, because I wear my headset, it would vibrate, it was like a shot collar constantly. So I put that to the side. And a lot of the just general update questions, I just put them off, man. I really honestly do, because in the scheme of things, it takes away time for me getting something done to answer it. I don't have a crew of people that are constantly working. Now, when I did have a crew of people and I had 4 or 5 guys working for me, I answered all the phone calls and I talked to people for 20, 30 minutes. They asked me a bunch of questions and I never ordered anything. Or I'd talk to somebody for an hour who's, you know, wanting to know what's going on with their part. Can I see pictures of it? Blah, blah. So I end up wasting an hour of my time talking to them about it and getting, and I liked talking about motorcycles. I like talking about parts and the process and paint and all that fun stuff. And people get excited about it. But since I've been by myself, I can't do that. It's not realistic to do that. I'd have to work 24 hours a day. And so I get it. I blew people off, still working on their projects. So what happened here is these two individuals, they got upset enough to file a complaint against me with my local law enforcement. And they opened up an investigation into what I'm doing, which is making parts and fucking working on bikes. So I had a investigator and it roll up to my building with about 10 sheriffs roundabouts and asked me about some bikes. I've got bikes in my shop. I had about 6 bikes in my shop at the time. I know whose they belong to. They dropped them off. They brought them to me to work on. Me to take them apart. I have all their information. They paid their deposits willingly. They know exactly what they're getting into. I never told anybody a timeline because it's unrealistic. Look, right now we got chip shortages. I can't even buy some of the things that we used to get aren't even available, and they just keep postponing when they'll be available. So they come in, we start talking about the projects that are there. They said they have some complaints. These guys want to know what's going on, blah, blah, blah. The short of it is that this investigator starts to ask me some questions in a very leading way. And keep in mind, I feel like I have no choice but to comply with these dudes. Apparently, I could have told them to F off and leave whenever I wanted. I'm a pretty easygoing person. I don't feel like I'm doing anything wrong, so I'm just chatting with them. And it became apparent that they were not going to be friendly very long. So this investigator told me he was going to remove these vehicles, that the owners wanted them back, and they were going to take them and all their parts with them, and he was going to do his investigation. I wasn't being charged with anything. I wasn't under arrest. And I was like, do they know you're here? And he said, yeah, they know we're here and we're going to take them. And I'm like, okay, this is fucking crazy, right? Because I have open invoices, unpaid balances to finish these projects. So he's taking money away from me. Now, in the state of Georgia, you have a lien on any vehicle that you have possession of in the mechanic realm. If you're doing any job to a vehicle and you're in possession of it, you have a lien on it. You do not have to release that vehicle until it's paid. And to that state, you if you're the customer and the shop doesn't finish the work and you want to retrieve your vehicle, you have to pay them in full. They don't have to release it at all. And then if you want your money back, you can sue them. That's a civil matter, which is what we're dealing with, a contractual civil issue. Well, they loaded up these guys' bikes. They took them with them and all their parts. And I wrote down the parts they were taking for them because honestly, we're in a situation where they are removing property and they are trying to charge me with some kind of theft from these individuals, whether it be theft by conversion or just straight stealing something from them. So I want to make damn well sure that what they were taking was written down explicitly to the T and there was no confusion where they go, I didn't get this, I didn't get that, whatever. So I wrote it down. And they took them and they handed me a copy of the property sheet and they left. And this guy demanded, he said, I'm going to give you 7 days to give me some records that show where this went, what you did with this. And I said, okay. And they left. And I was rattled, man. Look, I don't deal with the cops much, ever. I had some traffic violations and shit when I was younger. But I stay the fuck out of trouble. So, I was a little bit rattled, man. It was weird. So I made some calls. I talked to a couple of attorneys, and they all told me the same thing. Fuck that dude. Don't comply with police. Fuck that guy. He's got a warrant. He can come in looking for what the warrant says. Outside of that, don't talk to that dude. Don't tell him shit. Don't give him shit. He wants your bank records or whatever the fuck he wants. Fuck him. That's what they told me. And I was like, okay. You know, I had an attorney straight up tell me they came in there and stole from you. They basically are a collection agency. They came in there and stole shit from you. They had no right to take. And I was like, okay. So this is stress. What do I do? So he said, you can't do anything. Not until they do something can you do something. So I said, okay. So a week goes by. I don't give this guy shit. A couple days later, I get pulled over for speeding. Now, rightfully so, I was passing a car, a freaking slow ass landscape truck. It's going like 30. I just went around him, accelerated, got around the dude. I definitely went over the posted speed limit to pass the guy. I wasn't doing like 100, it was like a reasonable pass. But I saw the sheriff, he pulls me over, and I'm like, fair enough. Obviously I passed the guy. And this guy he was nice. He came up to me and said, hey man, I'm just going to be straight with you. You got a warrant for your arrest. And I was like, well, that fucking sucks. So I asked him what it was for. He didn't really know. He didn't have all the details, but I said, I'm going with you. I'm going with you. So I went with him. And I went to a local jail, and they booked me. And they charged me with theft by taking ×2 and theft by conversion ×1. And they gave me a $39,000 bail. 39 grand. And the guy, even worked with the sheriff, he goes, this is fucking crazy. This is like really high. Like, he goes, well, one guy just decided to put his value of his vehicle at $25,000, which is fucking crazy. Dude, good luck. Derek Eliezer, good fucking luck selling your bike for $25,000. You can insure it for 25 grand if you want to fucking lie your face off to your insurance company and tell them it's some crazy custom ass bike that it's not. But fuck that. That fucking victory is worth about 10 grand on a good day. So I was like, that's crazy. So he said, if you stay overnight and go to the first appearance, maybe you can get it reduced. So I'm like, okay. So I stay in jail all night. I go to the first appearance, and I find that I'm being charged by theft by taking a motor vehicle. So they're basically accusing me of stealing 2 motorcycles that I'm being paid to work on. Apparently, I'm trying to steal them. They do me no good to sit in my shop. Incomplete. They do me no good. What would I do with that? Nothing. I have no desire to keep your bike for any reason other than that you fucking owe me money to finish it when it's done. Period. So that's what I got charged with. I spent the night there. They gave me a bond of 10 grand per count, so 30,000. I don't have $30,000. I do not have 30 grand. My parents chipped in, got a bail bondsman, paid the bail to get me out. And man, it turned my life upside down. Honestly, my business has suffered immensely for the last few months. And the mental blow that this did was not good. It was tough. It affected my relationship with my best friend, the woman that I love more than anything. It put a major strain on our relationship. It put a strain on everything. I've got other customers who have nothing to do with this at all. Bro, look, if you order something from me, you're going to get your part. Unless you did a chargeback, just fucking tired of waiting and got your money back. You're going to get your part. But just know that there's some people out there that are making life real difficult on me. And I've been in this industry for 18 years. When people say that motorcycles are a brotherhood, fuck that. Motorcycles are a brotherhood for as far as you can fucking see a motherfucker. All right, let me tell you something. When it comes to you guys wanting something done to your shit, you don't give a fuck about nobody else but you. Motorcycles are selfish motherfuckers. Most of them are pretty damn selfish. That's just real talk. If I'm like, hey, yeah, I'm getting yours, I'm going to do this one first, they're quick to say, fuck that dude, got nothing to do with me. So I'll tell you, there's days where I couldn't, man. I walked into that building after being arrested for something ridiculous. And I just was so angry to even be there. Like, just being there made me freaking just infuriated with everything. And I don't want nothing to do with it. And I was planning on leaving the motorcycle industry anyway, but if there's ever been a bigger sign, this is it. I've never set out to screw people over. I've never set out to do anything like that. And I just so over the industry, it's not even funny. So, I had a committal hearing, which is kind of like them just probable cause. Do they have evidence to swear one way or another? And I sat there and I basically listened to this investigator lie about a lot of shit. I mean, it was amazing. And from what I understood, that the committal hearing is more of a formality that, they only got to tip the scale just a little bit to move forward. So the real fight doesn't start until they arraign me with something, and then I have to actually start fighting it. Not much we could do. I had a public defender for this, and the craziest thing that this dude said, outside of like obvious, the craziest obvious, which is that I'm somehow stealing this guy's bike that he brought to me and paid me to work on. The craziest thing he said is that he witnessed me pulling up to my building, which I park in the back. It's a mess back there, but that's where my charger is for my car, and I'll plug the car in while I'm at work. So I always park in the back. I almost never park in the front anymore. I used to park on the side of the building, but I always park in the back and just plug my car up. And he said that he witnessed me get out of my car, walk around to the side door, and look around before entering the building as if to see if there was someone in the woods or something. And I experienced criminal mannerisms of a criminal, and the way I enter the side door of my building. Now I go in the side door because fucking it's closer than going to the front door. Let's go in the fucking side door. Who gives a shit? Right? And I lock myself in the building every day. I have done that since I have pretty much, really even before I was working by myself. When it was just two of us, I always had the front door locked, just because we're in the back. We don't hear people come in the building, and I have parts and products and stuff throughout the front offices. So I don't need someone just opening the door, coming in the building, being unsupervised, unattended, that could just walk in and steal something and leave, whether it's documents, parts, products, fucking computer, anything that's accessible. We don't know they come in the door, so I lock myself in the building. When I'm there by myself, all doors locked. And maybe the bay door is open in the back sometimes, but I just don't risk it, man. Look, anyone could come up on you, and when it's just me, it's kind of more of a safety situation. But apparently the way I open my door is criminal mannerisms. So you guys are watching the equivalent of Al fucking Capone on YouTube right now. So that's kind of where I'm at. I have to fight this, and it's drastically affected my business. It's affected my mindset. There's days where I just don't want to do anything. And, I have thoughts that are just unhealthy. And it's been very, very difficult to get through this. And I know the fight's a long one, over shit that's just so trivial to me. Some of it's so trivial. And I have other parts to make, and I'm going to fulfill the orders that I have, and I only have a couple weeks left in there to knock them out, make sure everyone gets the stuff they ordered that is still, owed the product that they paid for. And then I'm out, and I'm going to be doing apparel full time and YouTube, and maybe dabbling in stocks, and maybe I'll go work and do whatever, man. People always tell me I'm a very talented person. I can produce YouTube content, produce videos, photo editing, draw, paint. Dude, I mean, I have a lot of skills. It's just the reality of it. I've done a lot of shit in my young life. But I want to print shirts. I want to make content that people want to watch. I enjoy it. I enjoy sitting here drawing shirts with my kids and Megan, and we design stuff up and we get to print it. And honestly, just knowing that people are out there wearing my shirts that I made is cool. Whether it's something even so stupid as, a fucking SpongeBob shirt or something. I ship them all out. I shipped a Rose Namajunas UFC fighter shirt to New Zealand. Some woman in New Zealand is going to wear a shirt that I made, that I drew up and edited up and printed and sent to across the freaking globe. And that's cool to me. I enjoy it. And I want to do some little fairs and festivals and stuff, and I want to help people out, and I don't know. That's what I want to do. That's what I'm going to do. And I just wanted to kind of open a dialogue with you guys. And if you've made it this far through the video and you haven't subscribed to my channel, please click the subscribe button or like the video. And if you want to support the podcast, I greatly appreciate any and all support that you give us here at TMF. My son asked me today, he said, well, didn't TMF stand for the Mills Factor? And I said, it did. It does. It is. That's us. We're the Millses, and it's the Mills Factor. And he said, well, why'd you change it to the other? And I said, because we make clothes for tough motherfuckers. You know, a lot of it is like a lot of what inspired me to even start this brand and do this was just tough dudes. The David Goggins, the Jocko Willings, the Joe Rogans, the Tim Kennedys of the world out there. You know, the guys that I love to watch fight in the UFC and Bellator and everywhere. Like they're the tough motherfuckers, and it takes a tough motherfucker to get up and do those jobs. But you know what else it takes a tough motherfucker to do? Just to be a dad, to be a mom, to be a human on Earth in 2021, and to survive the shit we're going through. Each and every one of you is a tough motherfucker. If you're out there right now and you're making it through this shit, and you're doing well or you're not doing well, but you're getting up every day and you're going out there and you're giving it your best, you're a tough motherfucker. Because this is not the easiest of times to be in. It's not. The world is a crazy place right now. Every day is a new crazy that erupts. And if you're making it through somehow, you're a tough motherfucker. So that's where I'm at with this. I hope to make more content. I want to do more stock videos. I do enjoy doing them. I enjoy the game of the stock market. I do enjoy talking about political stuff and current events, and I enjoy talking about the apparel line. I see people's struggles with the equipment and everything online, and I want to help them. I want to help people with that, and I want to inspire people to do what they want to do. I want to inspire people that have inspired me. So I hope I've reached some people with this, and if you're kind enough and you've made it this far, again, share it with someone who might need to hear some part of it. Obviously not my whole story, but it is what it is. So until next time, man, I'll see you guys in the next video, and stay strong out there, man. It's a tough world.